Hello friends, we are playing some more Bazaar, maybe with fixed audio this time, who knows, hopefully. Fourth time's a charm. My single viewer is going to be very disappointed if I don't pick up the audio quality. Playing Pig again. I think I'm kind of getting the hang of Pig at this point, which is exciting because new hero is coming out very shortly, and I think that's all we'll be playing for a while after that happens. Let's take the consistent income start and always favour visiting the jungle early for the extra income. And let's fight Kimono for the scarf. Stop me if you've heard this one already. So yeah, very exciting changes for the Bazaar coming up tomorrow, I believe. Possibly today, depending on when this video goes up. Hopefully some better monetization. Possibly new cosmetics, I would assume, new chests, and the new hero Mac. Plus, obviously, I assume 2 extra packs of cards for I think Dooley and Vanessa. I've been kind of trying to avoid spoilers because I like discovering the cards and adapting to them as they come out. But I believe YouTubers have been given some of those cards to reveal, if not all of them. So that's exciting as well. We don't get the scarf. We do get an upgrade hammer. We could have the rare going into day 1 with no items build. Looking increasingly likely. None of these are worth picking up. No matter what we're losing day 1. We take succulents because it scales a little bit. And we really try to find scarf or dog with these items here. No point selling stuff. We'll put rewards card to the right of the scrap just so we're getting a bit of money, and we go to lose against Soapy. I cannot envision any build that we beat. Maybe an ammo build that just completely runs out of steam, but obviously absolutely no chance here. Really do wish that they had a way to speed up the first few battles, or maybe just a resign button would be helpful for fights like this. But I guess on the other hand, you can't when you've got scaling items like succulents that you just kind of need to play out the day, unfortunately. On the bright side, at least it'll go into the sandstorm, so we'll get plenty of heal on our succulents, which is going to make all the difference. Bronze succulents. That's a really strong day 1 build. You're not beating that with much that Pig is playing. So let's hope we can get this run off the ground in day 2. Getting an item would be a good start for sure. Textiles, fine. Still really on the lookout for scarf or something similar. We'll upgrade bandages even though the upgrade is very minimal, and we'll put in bandages and succulents. Still nothing worth upgrading. Steam Ladle, I mean there's obvious synergy here. Snow Globe is a really strong item and can be really strong all the way into the end game. So I wonder whether we pick up these 2 items for now. Just because there's synergy here, they can be a really strong mid to late game item. It's not ideal spending all our money on that. Obviously left-handed can be really good. I think frontal shielding we take for the time being. Yeah, look, it's a very dicey build. Anything worth upgrading? Still not really. Can maybe make a case for upgrading succulents, and then it starts scaling to a point where maybe it actually matters, in which case we probably should have done that previously. Let's hold off just for a little while. Don't have much money. I think we just take the income. I'm a big fan of that income. And then look, we're in a dire enough need, let's upgrade the succulents. And let's go up against the easiest enemy here because we're going to be struggling to beat anything here. Snow Globe, obviously, we want to be getting adjacent property so it can start getting multicast, and we want Steam Ladle on the board so that they can start synergizing. Succulents is going to start scaling in a more meaningful way, especially when all our fights are going to be going to the sandstorm. But this build is obviously not a good one. So this is where you start kind of thinking, one approach is you just kind of give up on the early game and just try to get a mid-game build together. The other option is you desperately try to find something for the early game and try to sneak a couple of wins there, which obviously makes getting 10 a lot easier because you don't need to have one of those super late game builds. Insect Wing is great. I don't know what we want to be cooling down yet. Temptation to grab another upgrade hammer. Don't have much to upgrade really. Small items can be quite helpful. I think we take a look at small items rather than... Okay, so there's Matchbox. So there's our early game item. Would be... It's a shame we're not able to dupe it, but still obviously just super strong. No need to upgrade it because the upgrade doesn't... just increases its burn. It does increase the rate at which it charges. Still nothing I really want to reduce the cooldown yet, and don't see any need to sell. I mean, the scrap is very minimal benefit keeping it. Let's take a roll, even though we're pretty short on money, and none of those are interesting. So I think this is our board. Do we take a look at... Yeah, look, we've got enough to sell here, so I think we go to medium items. And then there's obviously stuff here we want, which is great. So to start with, we'll sell out... What will we sell out? Kind of want to keep the snow globe, but I really want to get the scarf. I mean, textiles is not a good item, so we'll sell out of... Even though it obviously does synergize with what we're doing a little bit, but we'll sell out of it and buy the scarf. Then we'll put scrap onto the scarf and insect wing onto the scarf to earn money, and then we'll buy the ATM. Temptation here is to sell it straight into Steam Ladle. Obviously we don't really need on the board now, but it's the best we got. Temptation is to buy bushels, which obviously has a bit of synergy with what we're going on here, but ATM and Snow Globe also have a bit of synergy. So I think it's worth hanging on to the ATM for the time being, in which case we're not buying bushel and not rolling. I think this is right. And we want the frontal shielding to be going on the bandages rather than the scarf. So look, we're still very weak. I'd still be expecting to lose this. The benefit of the scarf is obviously once you've got it scaling a bit more, and the benefit of the matchstick is or the matchbox is if you're able to dupe it or get flame skills, neither of which we've been able to get, so we're going to lose to this weapons Vanessa. Not only lose, but get absolutely annihilated. That was a very strong Vanessa. So we're looking in trouble here. Do I upload if I just go 0 wins? Presumably not. Presumably no one's interested in watching that. Unless it's Northern Lion losing, in which case it's immediately an incredibly entertaining video. What do we want here? Let's take a loot item because it's guaranteed to be a non-weapon item to scale with Scarf. Really want to upgrade the Scarf before we sell the chocolate. Let's try... A combat is risky because it's very likely that we lose. I think we try, just because it can be so good if we win, but I think we probably do lose this. What's our best possible board here? Obviously we can sell the chocolates now to give us an increased chance. I think we probably do that, in which case I think we also just put the truffles onto a chocolate for the immediate value. So even though it sucks to sell the chocolates into a bronze scarf rather than a silver scarf, I think it's the play here. So now, can we make a case for getting Snow Globe out? We'd be getting it out instead of bandages and succulents, probably. It makes Matchbox a fair bit worse, but gives us scaling with Steam Ladle. It's tight. I think this is probably the play. As annoying as it is to lose the succulent scaling, You have to have ATM to work Snow Globe. Maybe it's not worth it yet. Let's keep the succulent scaling. Either way, I think we probably lose this battle, unfortunately. The only way we have of tearing down the shield is burn, which doesn't scale. So we're going to build up plenty of shield, but so are they, and they can actually do something with theirs, whereas we can't. And our burn is not doing enough to get their shield down. So this is probably a loss. Maybe Snow Globe was the play here. Less for the freezing and more for the scaling of burn on Steam later, which might have been enough to get us over the line. So that might be a misplay on my part. It's going to be close, but I'm pretty sure we lose. Oh, we draw, which is a win. Okay, so that's a really big result. We'd love to get Force Field here. We'd make the run. Can't complain about what is one of the best skills in the game. And Succulent's got to scale, so we got off the ground a little bit here. Now, I'm pretty sure we win again. There wasn't anything that was really... I guess their rigged could go to different items, which changes it, but now we have rigged as well. Really, it should be the exact same result. If anything, slightly improved, because our succulents are slightly improved. So yeah, the only RNG is where their rigged goes to, and the fact that we now have rigged and that we have slightly improved succulents. So unless their rigged going to different items makes a huge difference, this should play out exactly the same way and end in a draw. I'm very much hoping that's the case, because this would be a pretty devastating loss after that. I feel like we were in a slightly better position before. What's changed? Heal? How strange. How strange that it changed like that. I guess that really was the difference of their rigged going to different items. That was obviously an experiment to show how RNG can work in the Bazaar, and not just a devastating loss. I think at this point we need items rather than skills. Improved income, obviously really good. They're really pushing us into this freeze build, but Igloo is just a really bad item. Belt is a really good item. Igloo is just a really bad item. I don't think it's enough. Scarf upgrade is huge. Would be nice to afford this, so let's sell you, I think, if we're not going freeze build, which I think we're not. And let's get the globe. Okay. Feeling a little bit better now we have the silver scarf. Let's take Finn, seeing as we don't have much in the way of money. So obviously we should be on level 4 here, because we should have taken an enemy that we could beat more comfortably. I obviously got suckered into being overconfident as a result of nice RNG, but I'm pretty sure we built this build. This is again, famous last words, but I feel like this guy is running a late game build in the very early game, which tends not to work particularly well. Really, you want to kind of be holding on to a build like this and playing it only once you reach the late game. And I'm pretty sure Balcony should be making Fixer Upper more valuable. I don't think making Colder more valuable is doing anything for this guy. It's a cool bird though. So yeah, we take a relatively free win there, which is nice. And now what do? We focus on scaling the scarf and thinking of a way to get into the late game. Upgrade bronze tier. Temptation is to upgrade rewards card, but I think we look at skills here. Okay, some thoughts here. Immolating Spark, obviously really strong with Matchbox, can justify Matchbox keeping its spot for a little longer. Artillery Spotter is a great endgame skill, depending on the build you're running. I think it's worth taking the Fire skill just to improve Matchbox for the time being, because it probably is sticking on the board for a little while. And let's put that to the left to make sure it's getting the benefit. Succulent's starting to look decent, and let's put Health increased health belt down as well, just because more health at this point in the game is really strong, regardless of whether you're running a health-based build or not. Hogwash can absolutely work, and we've kind of got the makings of how it would work. I think it's just a bit too early to look at pivoting into Hogwash. Robe is a decent item. It is a decent item, particularly we have 3 shield items, but it would mean getting rid of Succulents and probably Ladle. Only goes off every 6 seconds. Relatively marginal improvement. Would make the matchbox worse. I think we wait. And we'll grab a business card. These aren't particularly interesting. Sauna has some synergy with the burn we've got going. Sauna's interesting. Sauna instead of ATM? I think that's probably the play. It doesn't go off as regularly, which is unfortunate, but ATM is not really a late game card anyway. So let's try Sauna. We are going to be burning relatively regularly with the build we've got going here. And let's put rewards card onto business card just because we're going to be selling it. And let's grab some free chocolate. Okay, feeling pretty good about the way that start of this day has gone. I think we can take the Prince, try to get our XP back on track a little bit. So hopefully Sauna should be providing us pretty nice regen with how often the matchbox is going off. I mean, it's relatively minor, but it's something. It's a bit of sustain. And it itself is burning as well, which is obviously nice. Yeah, not an essential part of the puzzle at this point, but it can stay for the time being. Still haven't found a way into the late game. Sell you. Gumballs are decent. Health and regeneration items are decent. Gumballs obviously scale the Scarf, and we're a bit behind in Scarf scaling, given we didn't pick up Silver until I think day 3 or the end of day 2. So let's scale it a bit here. This is the best build on the board. Let's take a look at skills. Not using any large items. Using some tools. All cooldowns are increased by 1. Really interesting skill. I like that it can come out so early because you can build your build around it a little bit. Do we care about, or not do we care, but is it going to hurt our opponent on average more than it hurts us? Probably. You charge based on non-use weapons. We have nice sustain. Maybe we look at running a lethargy build here and then look at pivoting into Fort. Let's give it a shot. It seems fun. We also have Rigged, which feels like it has nice synergy with lethargy, in which, because it kind of diminishes the impact of lethargy on us getting on our build online. Who knows? This is cue to run up against a one-hit kill Langjon or something ridiculous where lethargy only hurts us. Okay, so lethargy is going to be hurting them a fair bit as well because they rely on their stuff going off quickly. So maybe we took the right play here. It's a powerful coral. Presumably they went enchanted start and picked up that. We're piling on the burn. They're not doing a huge amount. We're getting some regen going. It's going to be a tight one, I think. Neither of us scale. The only thing we've got going for us really, the regen is actually incredibly helpful here in getting rid of the poison and the burn. So yeah, we take it. I think that was in large part due to the regeneration there. Got up to 22. So that's obviously a really nice win. The build's kind of coming together, but it's also a little all over the place in what it's trying to do. It'd be nice to get some more focus, but for the time being, let's have some cheap chocolate, some Cadbury, and get the Scarf going. And let's take a look at medium iron. So we really want to keep in mind Fort would be a fantastic pickup, and then we somehow build our build around Fort because we have lethargy. There's no getting rid of it, so we're stuck with lethargy. So we may as well build around it. Ganja, fantastic item consider putting it in over belt, but probably not. Probably not quite. I think we just roll. Adjacent toys have multi-classed. Doesn't really help us here. Gumball Machine is just really, really good and a great enchant receiver as well. So we will buy that and be happy about it. Also has nice synergy with the scarf. Can we take on Scoville? Obviously nice to take on a burn enemy. I think Lethargy doesn't hurt Scoville too much, and we just can't afford to lose again, I feel. So let's take on Infernal Envoy. We do have a lot of health, which may have helped, but Scoville has some pretty strong burn stacking. So let's play it safe, and Vengeance is a really nice skill to get as well. Wouldn't say no to the Cinders. I don't think either of these are really going to fit in. Although there's some synergy with Sunlight Spear and Sauna. We'd have to think about it if we were to get it. These items could probably use a bit of a buff. Succulents is just working, chilling along slowly in the background. It's nearly like 1/100th of Seaweed. Yeah, good skill to get it. So we want to reduce the cooldown. Probably Matchbox is nice, and probably Scarf is nice to reduce the cooldown of. Let's sell you. Let's sell you. Yes. And then I think we're going to miss out on one here because Gumball's going to generate. Do we sell rewards card? We're not really focusing on money scaling, it's just there in the background, so I think we do sell it. And we take the 5, and then Gumball should spit out another. I thought. Start of every hour. I guess maybe it had already spat out its one for that hour. Let's still take more Gumballs. Got to be Gumballs, I'm afraid. Getting that scarf looking a lot nicer now. Even though the red Gumballs are obviously doing nothing. And small items can be quite good. I think with money where it is, we just take the spare change and be pretty happy with the scaling we've got going on. It's a pretty serious pig we got here. I mean, we're playing our best build. This is the best we have to offer. Oh, against POTUS himself. Oh. Resist making a joke about the pig character choice. Okay, this doesn't look that strong actually. VIP card plus the Apropos Chapeau is a cool combo, and this double blade's going to be hitting for a lot and healing for a lot and scaling pretty fast. But we're going to be piling on the shield, and we're keeping their shield down with our burn, or in fact they don't even have a shield, we're just slowly incrementing our burn. But geez, their blade's going to be hitting hard. That Apropos Chapeau is doing work. We probably lose. Oh, we get them with fortuitous timing, I think there. I think we were probably a couple of ticks away from losing, but it's a good win. And without belt, I think we definitely lose that. So the build's still a little directionless, but we're getting some early wins, which is really nice. So, and a nice way of coming back from a very rough start. Let's have a look at medium items. Okay, obviously some good stuff here. Don't really know. Obviously you upgrade the level of gumballs given, which is nice. Even though we're using it mostly for selling the gumballs. And we'll upgrade the globe as well, because health has a bigger benefit with the belt. It's a shame to spend all our money on that. I would have liked to try to see if we could fit the Apropos Chapeau into the build, but no such luck. Still playing bandages on day 6 is a bit embarrassing. They probably should go. Cinder's obviously tempting, but the chance of a battle is too good to pass up. I think we shouldn't have any issues here. Even though the Trash Golem can do a deceptive amount of damage. And the extra XP is really, really nice for us. Everything's so slow with Lethargy plus Burn. But I think on the whole, Lethargy has been a good take so far. And it's always dangerous taking a skill like this, particularly early. But the ability to potentially keep an eye out for Fort and build a Fort build plus Lethargy is a really, really cool build idea that I would quite like if that came together. So nice win there, obviously. Now, we could run it back. I think we can take the Enclave Weeper. We could have a lot of regen. Our shield doesn't do anything though. For 1 extra XP, let's stick with the safe Trash Golem. I mean, our build is still quite bad, so I don't want to get too carried away against the AI fights. Although, look, it probably would have been fine. But let's go with what we know. Especially having lost a fight earlier. Don't particularly feel like losing another one. The first enchant's going to be an interesting one. Scarf is the obvious recipient, but you can put some stuff on Gumballs that is just incredible. So this might be a scaling Gumballs type run. For example, you put the fire enchant on Gumballs, and then on the Gumball machine, then all its Gumballs give a buff to fire. And then you can put that fire buff either on Matchbox or on the Gumball machine itself. And things get very juicy. Upgrade silver or lower, let us upgrade our Scarf. You can make a case for Belt here, but I think Scarf, we've invested a lot into it, and particularly with the possibility of running Fort and giving it multicast, it's worth investing in Belt. And with that in mind, let's go chocolate bars as well. Getting some nice yellow Gumballs, which is good. Only have 6 gold for Gumballs, which is always a bit of a shame. Don't have much to buy anything anyway, so I think, oh, it's actually only 4 with that Gumball, so this is a bit of a waste, but I think the vendor would have also been a waste, so we've just haven't managed our money particularly well. We obviously need to look at vendors at some point because our board can be massively improved. Question whether you sell the globe? I don't think so. I think it's... I mean, it's so much shield to get. We have 6 Gumballs remaining. The globe is only giving us 200 max health, which is actually 300 max health. It's probably worth hanging on to the globe. Four-win Vanessa, level 6. Really could go either way. Lethargy could be really strong if it's an aquatic build. It's a weather glass build. 5 multicast. This looks pretty tough. But I've been wrong many times before. The Scarf should be enough to minimize the burn and direct damage at least, but the poison damage is going to stack up awfully quickly. Hope that our regen is enough to minimize it at least a bit. We're dealing with it relatively okay, but it's getting there now. It's actually the burn that's doing the most. The Scarf isn't helping enough, I think, so we lose this. Yeah, that's just too much burn. Again, I've perfectly evaluated the fight, that burn wasn't what we needed to be worried about. Really just trying to find a way to get this to 7. Because it just doesn't have a whole lot going on at the moment. A pivot into enchanted Gumballs might be the play. Let's take some cheap chocolate. Keep that Scarf going. So tempting to go the Gumballs, but we only ever improve by going to shops and actually buying items rather than just focusing on endlessly scaling the Scarf. But it's fun, on the other hand. It's fun to scale the Scarf. And it is guaranteed results you can't whiff like you can in the shop. So I think we're now... the plan is probably now to get a good enchant on Scarf. Scarf or Gumballs. Bonk plus Lethargy would be very funny. I think we beat the Thug, even though all our items are effectively slowed down by 2 seconds. And even though Anchor's going to be doing a lot, I think we're fine with this. Bonk would be a very funny skill to get. But yeah, looking at our board, everything left of Scarf, everything other than Scarf can go pretty much. Other than maybe Belt, it probably makes sense to keep Belt. So yeah, look, the pivot into a health-based weapon damage, like the double whammy. Stop me if you've heard this before. I think the property build ship has maybe sailed. We're probably going to be too slow to get that online now. You really want to have something sitting in your backpack sailing. And getting a fort plus the enchanted silk scarf, no bonking, would obviously be huge for us as well. That's a potential win con. Let's have a look at gold tier skills. Yeah, trade is really nice for buy sell. We'll take trader. And then, as annoying as it is, that means we visit Curio and buy you out of non-weapon. That's obviously really good. Really good. We sell you, then yeah, let's put you on Matchbox. And then, yeah, we buy everything that's not a weapon because it scales the scarf. Let me put you on scarf. Don't care about weapon buffs. Not a weapon, not a weapon, not a weapon, not a weapon, not a weapon. We put the crit on scarf. Can make an argument for keeping, but I can't be bothered. Weapon, not a weapon, not a weapon. So that was obviously pretty great value for money without trader skill. But the problem is, until we get an enchantment on scarf, it's still pretty underwhelming. Let's finally take a look at a shop. I think we're going to have to buy something to improve the board. Yeah, they're really pushing us towards this shielding build. Shielded ATM has to be better than... How do we want to put this? It's pretty good. Shields every 4. Goes off every 5 seconds, which is nice with Matchbox. Sauna, question how much Shauna is actually helping us now. It's really an early game item, I feel. Regen is so much more powerful early than later. But then Steam Ladle is also doing very, very little. Very, very little, because we're not freezing at all. So maybe something like this is better. To be clear, none of it's particularly great. They really want us to go this freeze build. It's too late. The ship sailed. That's kind of a cool item. So it shields 70 with its burn. I don't think anything there is worth replacing what we got, and I think these can both go. Yeah, Shield ATM is just a nice item for survivability. Not sure about that shop. And a level 9 Vanessa, but only 2 wins. I think lethargy is probably hurting us more than our opponent on average at the moment. Although slowing down their double barrel is very nice. I feel like we win this if the fight goes on long enough. It's a matter of whether they can burn us down quickly enough before we literally burn them down. And obviously the shield from the scarf whenever it comes in is really nice and might just be enough. I think we should be fine here. That's a really nice crit. Yeah, we're going to win this, which is really good. Lethargy, a deceptive help there, I think. Slowing down their one weapon by a second is such a huge difference, even though we're slowing down ourselves as well. I always get confused because sometimes it says all in capital letters to indicate that it's both your and their items, but I assume it slows down their items as well, otherwise it would just be such a niche skill. So let's try to get to level 10, because I feel like the enchant is on average more helpful to us than it will be helpful to our opponents, so it's really good to get that off the line. Finn's obviously nice because we have so much max health. Heal and regen items can also be nice. I think we just take Finn's with a bit of a buff. You know, I hate to miss out on the 5 free chocolate bars, but properties can improve our runs so much here. It's back. Oh no, it's still here. It improves heal every time you burn, and improves its own burn a bit. I just don't see this making the end game, so I don't think there's much point upgrading it. So I think we roll and hope for something more. Cold Room, they just want us to freeze so badly. Do we put it in the bag? I don't think anything else is worth putting in the bag. The pivot to freeze. The pivot to freeze is interesting for sure. Doesn't really fit with lethargy, although maybe it does, because it charges. I prefer to stick with what we got. Was it Dance with the One Who Bought You? Dragon would obviously be incredible and could potentially save what is increasingly look like a doomed run, but we really want to get to level 10. So much more XP. It would be so good if we were able to beat Dragon, but equally devastating if we can't, and I don't think we quite can, in which case I think you go Cosmic Rock for the hope of the cooldown. With Lethargy, we need to be careful of items being taken out of fort range. Although it's on the right, so we could mess around with it a bit. Yeah, we just need to be careful in that reducing cooldown isn't always a good thing when we've got the possibility of a fort build in the back of our mind. But I think we still rip it if we are lucky enough to get the feather. The only thing here would be Scarf, and we can mess around with that cooldown a bit by bringing it over to the left, so I think it should still be fine. And that means we won't get to level 10, barring something nice happening, which is a bit disappointing. And we get the worst item there. I think we take some more Scarf scaling. So a Scarf is becoming quite nice as an enchantment recipient, especially there's some really powerful enchantments we can put on it now. Let's take a look at gold tier items. We have enough money and our board is terrible. Caltrops doesn't work with the build we've got going. Again, and they really want us to go with the freeze. And this time it's tempting. This item is very tempting over Sauna. I think we just play it, because it's just, even just here, it's a good item, and it has potential to open up more possibilities as the game goes on. So maybe we should have taken... Too late for Fixer Upper, I think. Crook doesn't fit with what we're going, although you could make a case that you get Crook in the hope of then picking up Lion's Cane later on and suddenly it becomes quite powerful. Jabalian Drum obviously doesn't fit. I think that's fine. Build's still very weak. We have to fight another monster for the prospect of getting level 10. Should be okay. Doesn't have too much scaling other than the seaweed, so I think we win in the sandstorm here. Although it does also put on a lot of poison, which we're not very effective in dealing with, so that's a bit concerning. And I've also proven myself absolutely terrible at predicting the way AI fights are going to go. Maybe our Matchbox Burn saved us anyway. Considering that we haven't given the Matchbox much support, it really is a menace, this item. We also don't even have an optimal board for it, but it's single-handedly winning us fights here. Such a strong item. That's useless, but do we make it to level 10? Oh, one off. That's so annoying. So we sell these, and this is just the best we have here. Luckily against someone else who hasn't made it to level 10. I feel like we match up relatively well against pigs with lethargy and with the build we got going here. The gavel. The gavel. They might be about to kill themselves with this gavel. Please no demonetization. That's a brave build. A really brave build. You're gaveling yourself, friend. And I don't think it's going to get any better for you, because even with this Regal Blade hitting really hard, we've got our shield going off. Watch this guy about to hit himself in his face for 1,000 damage. Yo-Yo going for 700 is pretty incredible, but lethargy slowing down the Yo-Yo is beautiful. And then the gavel never even came close to hitting me. So yeah, safe to say that was a nice matchup for us. Now, it's enchantment time. Not what we're looking for, obviously. Now, do we random enchant Scarf or random enchant Gumball Machine? There's obviously some bad outcomes for random Gumball Machine that are just meaningless. Like Turbo or Heavy don't do anything for us. Poison and Fiery would both be great, because then you put the Gumball Machine on the board. Improving Shield is fine. Improving Damage, again, you just put the Gumball on the board. It's a tight one. I think we put it on Scarf just because there's fewer whiffs. I feel like almost anything is good here. Yeah, Poison is great. 121 Poison from the Scarf is a win con in itself. Although Poison on the Gumball Machine also would have been great. But yeah, I think the choice to put on Scarf there was just because there were fewer whiffs. The only real whiff, I think, was cannot be frozen, slowed, or destroyed. We don't really care about that much at the moment. Anything else was good there. Healing was probably also relatively underwhelming. But yeah, 135 Poison is really, really nice, especially with Lethargy, which tends to draw the fights out. Let's have a look at medium items. Lesser need for the left part of the board now, because we have a better win con here with Poison than with our Burn. Succulence is chugging along, but isn't really getting to a point where it's ultra powerful or where you'd be looking to enchant it. I think we take Cold Room now over this part of the board. They've served us well, but the transition into Freeze and then hitting them over the head with our Scarf is looking quite nice. So after all that, it looks like we are making a Freeze pivot. Toys. It obviously helps with Snow Globe. Actually, it doesn't really, because it's not a property itself. So it gives the same amount of multicast as Shielded ATM does. And there's nothing at the moment we'd want to put on the other side of it. So yeah, it's just unfortunately not a great fit for the build, even though it's a great item. We want Shielded ATM... Oh no, we probably want Cold Room to be taking the reduced cooldown. Can we beat the Death Knight Reaper? Your skill is useless. I feel like we want to give it a shot. Because we got to level 10, which is the major breakpoint in levels, obviously. We need to avoid crit from the Scythe here. But we put on a lot of shield. And then we freeze a lot as well. I feel like as long as we avoid a crit here, we should be fine. But they're famous, famous last words. Nope, we managed to survive, which is great. But it's going to get to go again. Again, it would have been nice to freeze it. Again, we're going to have to avoid a crit for a second time, I think. And we did. Unbelievably, we're alive. We failed to freeze it again, and I think this time it's going to just get us, maybe? Just. Damn. And we were building up the poison. I feel like that was still a decent call, taking that fight. We lose some XP there, which obviously always hurts, but I feel like that was a decent call. Obviously there's improvements we can make to our board, but I also just like the free chocolate for scaling. Because scaling the Scarf is now our win con. It doesn't scale late game, it scales for probably the next 2 days. It's a potential game winner. After that, we need more than that. Large items can be great, but let's make up for some of the XP we failed to get. And then I really like our chance against Dooley. Again, famous last words, but I'm assuming it's going to be Nanobot Dooley or Power Drill Dooley, and Lethargy plus Freeze I feel like matches up quite well against them, although they've got some incredible skills for... They've got almost the dream Nanobot build. Thankfully these aren't at Diamond yet, and thankfully we're going to be freezing quite a bit. I think we should be fine. Lethargy really hurts these builds. So I feel like it definitely helps us more than it... it hurts us less than it hurts the opponent, I should say. They got some great skills here. Okay, 6 wins, pretty happy with that. Let us look at shield skills, I think are nice. Just realizing that it would be good to have Scarf to the left of Shielded ATM. When you shield your weapons gain damage, none of these do anything worth thinking about too much. That can be quite nice. I mean, it's the best we got. It's not amazing. Bit of a whiff on the skills there. So you probably want you on the very left and you on the very right, like this. marginal difference, but just so that silk scarf gets frontal shielding. Okay, let's go more gumballs, seeing as they're a economic wash. They at least don't cost us anything. Got to spend money to make money. And scaling the scarf, as I said, is really how we win the next few days, or couple of days most likely. Let's have a look. Temptation is just go chocolate again. Non-weapons can be really good as well. Let's just go chocolate again. The Shore scaling bet. I think we beat Archon. Property Baron is a menace at the moment. Property Baron may well be harder than Lord Archon. These guns are going to be going very, very quickly, but I think the freeze combined with the poison that we'll be putting on should be enough to take this one for us. 180 poison with Scarf is obviously just super strong, and even better if we could find a fort. So maybe I should have been looking at the large item vendors, just trying to hunt for that fort. I think we find the fort and it's enough to dump the right side of our board. Unwavering is fine. Some doesn't go great with lethargy, but it is what it is. Let's take some more scaling. Our Scarf is becoming very, very strong here. And not much need for temporary boost, so let's just try to luck into something here. Lemonade stand, I think it's a bit too late to be super impactful, especially at silver to roll. And none of these I'm interested in. It's really fort that would make us think about changing our build around. Max health is really nice, as is a bit of scaling. We're obviously going to have to start going to more merchants, I think, but at the moment we've just had events that are relatively hard to pass up with the build we got going. Vanessa on lethal, level 12. May well be Shipwreck Vanessa, in which case lethargy again should be quite useful. Single build Radiant Cutlass. I think, or with spices with a lot of ammo, it's going to get very nasty very quickly, but hopefully we should be okay. Obviously the Radiant is really doing some work on our build, so we're freezing useless things. Maybe it's going to scale too much with this next hit of spices. It's going to get very nasty indeed. Look at this hit coming in. Oof. But I think, especially if we can get one more Scarf off, that double crit hurts, but getting this Scarf off and then it's going to be really tight. They take it with a double crit there, and fair enough on 70% crit chance. Yeah, cool build. Cool build. Even if it stops us from getting a 7, and even though it perfectly can out-freeze, that was a cool build. So we're not quite on lethal yet. Still really hoping we can get this to 7, but this build is obviously starting to be outclassed pretty significantly by what we're coming up against. Small items don't really do much for us. Freeze item could be great, but it's a bit of a gamble. I think we go... So every 4 gold you have. I think we just go cheap chocolate to maintain our gold, which is in turn helping our shield items. The temptation is just to go gumballs again, but I think we have to start taking a look at some items. I can't help myself. Just go through another day and not look at any merchants at all, because the temptation to get free scaling on the Scarf is just too much value to pass up. Lord Archon again? Sure. Give us an Eclipse. I'll change my run for the Eclipse. I feel like we don't have many great pivots as well. Like, if you're ambitious, this is where you start looking at for, alright, how do we get to 10 wins? But I feel like in order to do that, you really need to be scaling the value of a property, and it's too late for that, really. So I think more realistically, you look at getting to, 7, 8 wins. Oh, God. Okay. Every time. So, what do we do now? I mean, it has to go on the board. The right side of our board is doing relatively little. So there's really no reason not to stick this on the board. Do you get rid of... run it like this? Because shielding 200 every 5 seconds, it's not really much, is it? But then Cauldron by itself is also not great. And no matter what we're doing, we're being left with a free spot. Could also make a case for getting rid of Belt. But surviving with Belt is nice. And then we have to keep in mind that using all our items when we fall below half health, as we know from my previous runs, not a guarantee of success, even if you put it with what was effectively the boulder. So you freeze one item from Cold Room. Cold Room by itself is still decent. Anti-synergy with Lethargy, obviously. Let's try this for the time being. And know that there's ways of significantly improving here. Upgrade an item. You can't upgrade legendaries, unfortunately. Upgrading Belt makes a lot of sense, but upgrading Scarf, we still have time to scale it, and it is looking like it is our win con. Especially with it going off once automatically when we get to half health. So scaling it even faster, even though it might appear useless, is still nice. And then we go to Monster Ranch. Now we really are looking for Fort. Fort would be incredible. Reduce cooldown would still work with Fort, the Scarf, because Fort would increase it by 1 second as well. So I think we take Insect Wing, make sure this isn't to the left, sell it like this, and you're down to 7.6 now and still work with Fort, which is nice. Mysterious Event is always tempting, but we really can improve our run in so many ways, and we have the money. I mean, you're a small item that does pretty much nothing. We take you to sell. Freeze all other items for 3 seconds. Obviously can be quite good. So it gets used automatically by the Eclipse, but the way using it doesn't freeze all other items. Freezing all other items is nice for us because I favour our damage over time over their damage over time. Is it worth picking up just for the falling below half health? Freezing all other items. Just a build focused entirely on falling half health. So what would happen? We'd fall below half health, Eclipse would go off, Scarf would go off, and everything would get frozen, which is great because we just got in a Scarf proc. Look, I think it's kind of cool, and Shielded ATM isn't doing a huge amount for us, so let's try it out with the knowledge that it can be easily replaced. Not by anything there, though. Yep. What is this build? What is this build? These two can go, even though there's obvious synergy with Cold Room and Private Hot Springs. Really obvious synergy. Is it worth? I mean, there's the making of an entire freeze build here that's quite nice. But it's the Eclipse. The Eclipse is getting played, which means at least Snow Globe isn't getting played. You can make an argument for Cold Room over Belt. Definitely can make an argument for Cold Room over Belt. So it would get used, which would then charge this more, charge that 4 seconds instantly, but it's marginal. I think this is better, but we'll stick with Cold Room in the bag in case this all just goes horribly wrong. A run with the Eclipse on this channel going horribly wrong? Surely not. Never happened. It's turning into quite a long run as well. Let's see what Vanessa's cooking. We got a slow build. Well, we slow you down automatically anyway. It's a nasty barrel. At least it's not going to one-tap us, so we're going to get to see Eclipse go off. In fact, we might not even see that because Belt is just hurting them so much. Or Scarf is hurting them so much, I should say. They're just pausing the fight when I drop below half health. Just after a proc of Scarf is really nice. Because the damage over time will just tick away whilst their items are frozen. So I'm quite happy with this synergy here. Cold Room, I think, can go. Scarf is just too much survivability. It's just too much survivability with a high max health and opens up potential other builds. And let's just go with more scaling, more cheap scaling. This could be an interesting property vendor here. Or do we take skill upgrades? What would we upgrade? Lethargy, I assume, just goes to 2 seconds. Nothing else is super impactful. I think we take a look at the property vendor. Nothing here. And nothing here, although there's obviously synergy there. We could have had... We've basically been offered all the free synergies several times over and still haven't gotten it. Let's take a look at Diamond Skill because we don't really know what we're looking at. Double damage of your large weapons. Such a shame because this could be such a good skill. This is one of the best skills in the game. Shield Lines having crit chance is nice. Really nice. The temptation is to... it's irrelevant with this, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, irrelevant with that. There's a build with the Eclipse where you just build a ton of other small items that go off all the time, and then doubling this damage would be quite nice. Temptation to take big guns with a view of picking up a double whammy. But it's probably too speculative, where don't have a huge amount of prestige left. It's probably too speculative, so you probably just take increased crit chance on Scarf, which is quite nice. Void Golem, we probably lose to. Property Baron has a risk of one-tapping us. Void Golem we lose to if you get rid of Scarf, most likely. I think we go Property Baron. We may lose this, to be clear. Property Baron is an absolute menace. But Rigged is nice for us. And hopefully they don't one-tap us from full health or from marginally above health, half health to dead. In which case Eclipse will get a chance to proc and will freeze their items, and then hopefully that's enough time for our damage over time. Doesn't matter. Ignore everything, we win easily. Property Baron is scary at the moment though. Skyscraper. Okay, can be can be quite good because we have multicast here. Eclipse has high value in combat. You're going to double your value in combat, so an extra 25 gold, which is an extra 75 damage. So you're doing roughly 425 multiplied by 2. So you're doing roughly, let's say, 850 to 900 damage without any obvious efforts at scale, and you go off automatically when I hit half health. It's not a bad amount of damage, to be honest. We can scale it with value. We could immediately double its value with investment pitch. Let's... again, it's kind of borderline. I do like the freeze we're getting from this, but it's not doing much elsewise. And then let's always take investment pitch. So you can double the value of Eclipse, which will give this extra 51 times 3 basically, but similar impact for here because it has double value in combat, so giving an extra 25 value is actually giving an extra 50 value. Upgrade your leftmost property, no. Double income obviously tempting, but I think let's double your value, get you to 50, and then look at ways we can further increase your value, hopefully. And a potential enchant recipient as well. We probably want you having the reduced cooldown on the right. And Fort now would make things very interesting. Let's not even think about how we would play Fort here, because it's too much of a pain. But we probably should be looking for Fort, because it's an obvious way of improving this run. Okay, it's very similar to our Eclipse plus double whammy build that we played, but kind of cool in its own way, in that you're relying on damage over time from the Scarf plus Eclipse. So, and I think it's going to come to the same end as the previous run. That's a rough fixer-upper. That burn is going to hurt really bad. Yep. Spike. We got spiky shielded. It happens. Okay. I think it's too late for the Gumballs enchant. You enchant Gumballs when you get it relatively early on and can just pile on the enchanted Gumballs. Enchanted item with shield effects. I mean, that's actually really good on Gumballs, because then all the Gumballs give bonus shield, which then buffs the Scarf. It's too good to pass up. And there's a lot of whiffs on the... I think, if not for this, the enchant is going on the Skyscraper, and there's a lot of whiffs on that. You're really looking for ways of doing more damage, whereas defense doesn't matter too much. So I'll take the bonus shielded Gumballs, which help the Scarf scale even faster, and maybe enough to make a difference this day. Although we're going to come up against, as you just saw, you know what we're coming up against. We're coming up against busted fixer-upper pigs. So now, as you'll see, the gumballs give you a leftmost shield item plus 20% shield, which is just an insane amount of scaling on the scarf. And that's still probably our most obvious win con, is this scarf, even with the skyscraper. Which was maybe a reason for keeping the hot springs and just focusing on the scarf, but it's kind of cool synergy as well. Free monster loot or gold items. Really looking for Fort is probably one of the few items that would convince us to change our build around, and relatively low chance of getting it. But then free loot can be quite helpful, I suppose. Reduce cooldown, so I think we take it. Sure. Our scarf is getting out of control. 3,000 healed scarf nearly. Let's take another gold tier loot. Let's increase its crit chance. Do we just risk Void Golem? Your skill doesn't really do anything for us. You don't really do anything for us. Let's risk it. As long as the scarf gets to go off once, it should be okay. That's probably the best destruction other than the belt. So hopefully it should be okay. Yeah, one of the cases where Caltrops is doing absolutely nothing. So yeah, the belt going off once guaranteed the win pretty much. That's obviously not what we were looking for, but we don't say no to the XP. Scarf's scaling like crazy. Don't need to upgrade our weapons. 3 spare changes tempting, but let's take a look at what you've got here. What's our gold doing? Our gold is giving very marginal increase to shield, so with that in mind, I'd rather spend the gold for the scarf improvement there, and probably all of this as well. Still not going freeze. Keep some gold in the bag. Hero merchants, obviously potentially game changing, but I think we'll just take the chocolate and we'll pay for the lint this time, and pray we don't run up against Fixer Upper Pig. I honestly think our build is quite good, and we really should beat Dooley. Dooley, it has to be the level 17 is a bit scary, but it's most likely Nanobot or Power Jewel Dooley, and I feel like we match up relatively well against either of them with Lethargy. So it is a friend Dooley. Oh, it's a force field Dooley. Oh, it's a one hit Dooley. They're going to one-tap us, and it didn't work. So I think we should be okay now. Their build is based on getting defense grid to pop, and then force field popping very early. So now that hasn't happened, I think we take it. We take it pretty easily. Bit of a gimmicky, but nevertheless fun build. Let's have a sip of coffee. So yeah, I mean, hopefully the very few people are watching this, but if you are, you're hopefully enjoying the commentary. Feel free to let me know if there's anything you think I should do differently. Personally, I just love having Bazaar. I love the game. I love having videos of anyone playing it in the background. So just thought I'd offer that to other people as well, especially if you're looking for other content creators. So yeah, let me know how you're finding it. Upgrade an item. There's a temptation to upgrade gumballs, so the gumballs are even better. Temptation to upgrade belt. Skills can be good, but on Dooley they can also be terrible. The gumballs are going to have marginal impact given that we're going into what is in best case our last 2 days. So let's take the increased health from belt, which decreases the chance of Eclipse not proccing, which is nice. Have a look here. Buy, sell, buy, sell. That's a cool looking snow globe. Unfortunately makes it too expensive to buy, sell with our scarf. Small items, we probably actually, at this point with the money we've got, we probably get more value here than chocolate. Just thinking some obvious synergies here, but not good enough. You'd increase how quickly Skyscraper goes off. But look, Skyscraper really isn't our win con here. And in fact, is probably not. It is probably replaceable. Well, it's definitely replaceable. So notwithstanding that, let's put truffles on it because it benefits the most. Because yeah, the hit 1,000 or so damage, a bit more, once it's increased value in combat, is nice, but not game changing. It's a nice automatic trigger with the Eclipse, but again, not amazing. So ideally we're replacing Skyscraper with Ford, I think. If we get Hyper Focus, it's probably enough to think about dropping the belt here, but let's not worry about that until it happens. Yeah, look, we're strong. We're as strong as you'd expect for a pig on 8 wins on day 14, but we're not fixer up level strong. We're not true endgame pig strong. Let's take a look at pig skills. Some here could certainly help us. None of those really. That's really nice. All of these are nice, but I think reducing all our cooldowns is pretty nice. Still works with Fort, just. The gumballs are just so good. Small and medium items. I feel like we're really looking for Fort and not a huge amount else. So let's take the scaling. The scarf is unbelievable, nearly 4,000. And now Flex, we'd be looking to upgrade our belt, sorry, and there's potentially other items I'm not thinking of that could replace Skyscraper. Pearl's Dig Site, we can just dig and dig and dig. I think upgrading belt, sorry, again, is really nice. So we'll do that, which was a pretty likely get because there's relatively few items that Flex offers. Gavel, I can see the appeal because we have so much health, and the fact that it fits into only one spot. It's almost better than Skyscraper, despite only taking up one spot. It goes off automatically, frees up the spot. I really think you can make a case for holding on to it. Reducing the gold is annoying, but not the end of the world. Hold on to it in case we see a medium item that we really like. Okay. Well, how do we play this? So obviously we're transferring into either Double Whammy or Lion's Cane. They both go off automatically when it hits half health. Lion Cane would have the advantage of Gavel also going off. They're both gold. Double Whammy's dealing 15% of our max health times 2, so it's really 30%. Lion's Cane is only dealing 10%, but it allows us to play Gavel. I think Double Whammy is still just better. And then, is it better than Skyscraper? I haven't done the maths, but I feel like it has to be. What are you looking at? Yeah, way better. So that's obviously a huge improvement. Again, we've ended up somehow with an Eclipse and Double Whammy build. What are the odds? Add in, though, the really cool scarf that's a win con in itself. Still have heaps of health. We're still going to get one-tapped by builds here or there, obviously. But I think this is what we're looking at now. So that was a great vendor. Double Whammy going off automatically at half health should be enough to win us a lot of fights. But look, there's no point thinking about it too much because there's every chance we don't get the Eclipse to pop because we run up against this. Oh no, Bunker. And an Ice Luge and VIP Pass. This is going to be rough. We have high chance of getting one-tapped by Spiky Shield here. If we don't get one-tapped and Eclipse gets to go off, I think we're fine. I don't know. What happened? We won. But their one-tap must have hit for... Yeah, look. Shield for 23,000, so shield for pretty much our exactly entire health. Damage 25,000, but we were getting a lot of shield from Toxic Scarf. I don't know whether that was that Eclipse popping off that got us the win. I really hope it was, because that's just a lot cooler. If we keep an eye on our health, this is a cool build. Really cool build. Ice Luge really strong. Did we win this by dropping below half? I think we did. Still kind of hard to tell, but I think we dropped below half health here. And Double Whammy went off twice, and that won us it. So still, really cool build here. Even though it's similar to a build we've run on the channel before. I really like the scaling gumballs on the scarf are cool as well. Just really, really cool build. So we can get rid of globe now because it's on start of each day, which we don't have anymore. This is our last day. So how do we improve the most here? None of these really matter. Let's take a look at medium items. I don't think we're changing around our board at all, but buy, sell into the scarf is still a really great use of our money. Because this... Oh no! What happened? Oh no! It went invisible. I instinctively sold the item in the inventory because I knew that we just bought it. The bugged invisible model ship cost me the gumballs. Oh, that's so devastating. Those gumballs. I mean, at least it happened on the last day, I suppose. But those gumballs were really helping us scale, and like I just talked about how cool they were, and now they're gone. Ah, that's so devastating. Was really looking forward to buffing the scarf more with the gumballs, but it's not going to happen now. Oh well. Oh well. At least it was on the channel. At least I was recording, and it's kind of funny rather than buying the weapon. That was obviously stupid. I can see the case for spices with double whammy. Just don't think it's enough to justify getting rid of the scarf or the belt. And Eclipse is obviously staying, so it just doesn't work. Oh, I'm so sad about our gumballs. The gumballs were awesome, and now they're gone. Property Baron could make a case for some of its items. Awakened District, if we get Solar District, we rethink the run again. There might be a better way of building it. If not, we're playing with this build. Double whammy upgrade to diamond would be an obvious way of improving the run, but it's one tapping a lot of people anyway. You are of no interest to us. Let's take the scarf scaling, seeing as we gave away our existing scarf scaling. It got to 4,000 anyway, so that's nice. Risking some coin for XP would probably be enough to get us to 19, which I think is worth it. Could also make a case for health there. Don't have a need to upgrade or cinders. Gold, what are we looking for? Gold, double whammy, we're looking for gold. That's probably about it. Well, there you go. So at least we get diamond. The streamer client, man, the moment you start streaming, well, the moment you start recording videos, your items improve massively. So it's worth it just for that. We'll buy out of the shop to improve the scarf, and this is what we're rocking. And that's just enough to get us another enchant, which is fantastic. Heal effects. Look, you could make a case for putting heal on the Whamster because it goes off and heals us massively, but really we should be winning when it goes off, and the prospect of getting a damage dealing enchant to make sure that's the case is I think worth risking it here. So we're really looking for, what's that, haste? Yeah, that's useless. So that was a waste. We were really looking for fire, poison, damage, crit. Shield or heal were the next best, but it was worth the risk. What are you cooking, Vanessa? Oh, it's a boulder. It happened. It was what I was afraid of last time has happened this time. But we do... Oh, never mind. I was going to say we heal a lot, but that's what can happen. So the Eclipse doesn't get to go again. Absolutely devastating for another Eclipse win to just get one shot. Was there any chance of us building up enough shield? Not really. So yeah, we just got completely countered by the boulder. Which, yeah, is obviously the counter to the Eclipse. Real shame that, again, we weren't able to get the Eclipse to 10 wins. It's another 9 wins on the channel. Another really cool build, though, especially with this silk scarf. And then the turbo, completely useless enchant on the double whammy. Ideally, we would have had Fort to make it as similar to the last one as possible, I suppose. Fort instead of double whammy you could have made a case for. But we're not being the boulder, no matter what. So, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed the run, and I'll see you next time.